We are finally at the end. These are the last top 10 rankings of the 2010s decade. We've done pitchers, catchers, first base, second base, third base, shortstop, left field, and center field. And today we wrap it up with the top 10 right fielders of the decade. And this is clearly the best position in the outfield thus far because there are a lot of great choices. Like 1 through 10, you're pretty much getting good players. And some guys that I felt were pretty good actually had to be left off. So as always with these videos, I want to know what you guys have to say down in the comment section below. Give me your top 10 rankings of right fielders of the 2010s. Remember, they have to have played in the 2010s. Don't care about years prior. As always, if you guys do enjoy these videos, maybe for the last one we get 2,000 likes, drop a like on it. That's the best way to show your support. Subscribe if you're new and you enjoy the content. If you love baseball, click that sub button, join the team. Opening day is on the way. And make sure you're following me on Twitter and Instagram at GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description, as well as if you want to check out some second channel content, links in the description down below there. Uploading some different stuff, not necessarily always baseball related. Getting today's video started, coming at the number 10 spot, we got outfielder for the Braves, Cardinals, and Cubs, Jason Heyward. Heyward's career was off to a hot start in 2010. Coming up with the Braves as a 20-year-old kind of took the league by storm. There was a lot of hype around this guy. He made an all-star team that year, finished second in the Rookie of the Year voting, and people expected big things. Now, he followed up in 2011 with a bit of a stinker, but 2012 he came back and hit 27 homers with 30 doubles, stole 21 bases, but we've never really seen him play at that level yet again in his career. The thing that has stayed consistent, though, is how good that glove is in the outfield. Absolutely phenomenal outfielder defensively, with the arm, with the glove, with the speed, he can do it all. For the 2010s decade, Heyward is a one-time All-Star, 2016 World Series champion winner, 5-time Gold Glove Award winner, and Wilson overall Defensive Player of the Year. In this decade, he's averaging 14 homers and 24 doubles a season with 58 RBIs while stealing 11 bases, hitting .261 with a .343 on base, .412 slugging, and a .755 OPS, which gives him an OPS plus at 103, slightly above average. You give him a great glove, he's going to crack the top 10, coming at the number 10 spot. For the 9th best right fielder of the 2010s decade, we look at Cleveland Indians, Cincinnati Reds, and Texas Rangers right fielder Shin-Soo Choo. Shin-Soo Choo quietly put up a really fantastic decade. He used to be a pretty decent fielder. He's moved more to a DH role recently in Texas, but still for the beginning part of the decade, he did play the outfield and he did a pretty decent job. In the 2010s, he's only made one All-Star appearance, but he has finished inside the top 15 in the MVP voting twice. His numbers pretty solid though. 18 homers, 26 doubles, 59 RBIs a season with 12 stolen bases, hitting .271 with a .376 on base, .438 slugging to give him an OPS at 814. For an entire decade, he's a guy who had an OPS above 800. That's absolutely fantastic. That is being an above average player for 10 years. That's really good. And in this decade, he only had 4 seasons with an OPS below 800. He's put together a very consistent, very solid decade, and that's why he comes at number 9. He may not be the fielder that Jason Heyward is, but he's a much better offensive player, and to me, that's a little more valuable. At the number 8 spot, we have a right fielder who's currently not on a major league team right now, going into his 29-year-old season. That's Yasiel Puig, and it's not necessarily because of his play, because, I mean, he's been pretty good in the 2010s. It's more so about all the antics that you get with him, but there is no doubt that when he is on the field, he's got his head straight. He can be a guy who has high production for your team. Came up as a 22-year-old in 2013 with the Dodgers. Another one of these guys who kind of just took the league by storm. Finished second in the Rookie of the Year voting that year, 15th in MVP. He followed it up with a strong 2014 where he made an All-Star team and finished inside the top 20 of the MVP. Back-to-back seasons with OPS above 850. And while we haven't really seen him reach that plateau again yet, he still has been a pretty good player. From 2013 to 2019, Puig's averaging 19 homers, 23 doubles, and 59 RBIs a season with 11 stolen bases, hitting .277 with a .348 on base, .475 slugging, and 823 OPS, giving him an OPS plus at 122. Puig's got an absolute cannon. While he can make some boneheaded plays, he's got a ton of talent, and when he has been on the field kind of focused, he puts up good numbers. So for me, I gotta go with Yasiel Puig at number 8. He's good. For the 7th best right fielder of the decade, let's talk about Astros, Tigers, Diamondbacks, and Boston Red Sox right fielder, in quotation marks, JD Martinez, because with the Red Sox, he really hasn't played much right field. He's a DH, but for the majority of this decade, he's been a right fielder. Reason I have him at number 7 is because his best numbers really came the last few years where he hasn't been playing the outfield, so that's why he's a little bit lower. If you put up these numbers completely playing right field, he's going to make his way higher on this list, even with his awful glove in the outfield. From the time he joined the Tigers in 2014 to 2019, the previous season, 34 homers and 32 doubles a year with 98 RBIs, hitting .307 with a .373 on base, .581 slugging, and a .954 OPS plus at 152. That is just straight up one of the best hitters of the decade. If you're looking at OPS, you're looking at home runs. He hit 207 homers in what, like 5 or 6 seasons? JD Martinez can definitely swing the bat. He can rake. In the field, a little suspect, which is why he's a DH now. But even then, he still classifies as a right fielder in this video, which is why I have him here, and we're putting him at number 7. Coming in at the number 6 spot, we got one of the better outfielders of the decade, but you kind of forget about him, Carlos Gonzalez. The reason you forget is because Cargo's kind of disappeared the last few years. I think he was last seen with the Mariners. I was supposed to talk to him in spring training. Didn't end up happening. But clearly, the best part of his career came at the beginning of the decade, where he was like in his mid to late 20s, and he was really putting up some numbers with the Rockies. From 2010 to 16, Gonzalez was averaging 26 homers, 28 doubles and 86 RBIs a season with 13 stolen bases, hitting 296 with a 353 on base, 535 slugging, and an 888 OPS, just absolutely raking. The problem was that the next 3 years, he was a below average offensive outfielder for the Rockies and the Cubs and the Indians, hopping around different teams, really didn't play much last year, only 45 games. His production just kind of dropped off as soon as he hit 30. Still though, for the decade, finishes with an OPS at 855 and averaging about 22 homers a season. It's not bad. It's pretty good, especially because he was a pretty decent outfielder out in the right field. You weren't getting great defense, but you weren't getting someone who didn't know what they were doing. He's made 3 All-Star teams, won 3 Gold Gloves, 2-time Silver Slugger, and a batting title champion. He finished 3rd in the MVP voting in 2010. Cargo comes in at number 6, which now leads us to our top 5, and getting us started at the number 5 spot, we've got George Springer of the Houston Astros. Now, a lot of people were commenting Springer for center field, but it turns out that Springer's played about 2 times as many games in right field as he has in center. Springer is a 3-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger, won the World Series in 2017, and is a World Series MVP. Now, yes, the trash can banging may have helped his numbers a little bit, but still, across the board for the decade, pretty good. Came up in 2014, so he's played about 5-6 seasons, 27 homers a year, 22 doubles, 71 RBIs, and 8 stolen bases, hitting 270 with a 361 on base, 488 slugging, and 849 OPS. He's only posted 1 season with an OPS below 800 in his career, and that was 2018 at 780. Otherwise, George Springer has raked and has been one of the best leadoff hitters in baseball. He gets on base, he hits for power, plays a pretty good right field, athletic guy. Gotta put him inside my top 5 at number 5. Big George Springer fan. For the 4th best right fielder of the 2010s decade, we've got Washington Nationals newly signed Philly, Bryce Harper. Everybody remembers Bryce Harper coming up, 19 years old. He was a phenom. He was blowing up on YouTube. He was the man. So much hype, and he pretty much lived up to it. Some people think he's overrated. I've even called him overrated at points. He's not. He's really good. In his 8 seasons of play, he's made 6 All-Star teams, won a Silver Slugger, won the Rookie of the Year, and won an MVP. 2015, he led all of baseball in on-base slugging and OPS, which is pretty impressive. That was an unbelievable year in 2015. And for the entire decade, his numbers, his averages are pretty gross. 27 homers, 27 doubles, 79 RBIs, and 11 stolen bases, hitting 276 with a 385 on-base, 512 slugging to give him an OPS at 897. Like, people say he had a down year last year, and he still hit 35 bombs with 36 doubles and an 882 OPS. Just look at the numbers, guys. He's gross. Easily inside the top 5. That's why I got him at number 4. So just missing on the top 2. At the number 3 spot, we got Toronto Blue Jays, Atlanta Braves, New York Mets, and Philadelphia Phillies right fielder Jose Bautista. Prior to the 2010 season, Jose Bautista was an afterthought. He was a utility player. He was a platoon guy. No one was getting excited about Jose Bautista. Hadn't had an OPS above like 750. 2010 though, he went off. Dropped 54 homers, a career high. Led all of baseball. You take those 2 seasons and put them together, he had an OPS at 1025. Like, what? Finished 4th and 3rd in MVP voting in 10 and 11. He made 6 straight All-Star teams, finished inside the top 10 of the MVP voting 4 times. During his prime with the Blue Jays from 10 to 15, he was averaging 38 homers, 26 doubles, and 97 RBIs a season, hitting 268 with a 390 on base, 555 slugging, and an OPS at 945. Don't care what he's like in the field. You hit like that, you turn the other cheek. You don't care. And even when you put in the entire decade and look at his numbers, he's still averaging 32 homers, 25 doubles, and 85 RBIs a season with an OPS at 879. Joey Bats was nasty in the 2010s. Absolutely ridiculous. Put up 280 of his 344 homers in his career. He has the most legendary bat flip possibly in Major League Baseball history and has to go down as one of the best right fielders of the 2010s decade, coming in at number 3. Just missing out at number 1, very close, but at the number 2 spot, we've got Florida Marlins and New York Yankees player Giancarlo Stanton, or Mike Stanton, which is what he was known for most of this decade. Stanton only played 18 games in 2019, so I'm not really going to count that into his averages because it doesn't really matter. What does matter though is that we're going to look from 10 to 18 and his numbers jump off the page. In 9 seasons, Stanton hit 305 homers. 305 in 9 seasons. Gross. His averages from 10 to 18 were 34 home runs a year, 26 doubles, 86 RBIs, hitting 268 with a 358 on base, 548 slugging, and a 905 OPS, and that was just in 127 games a season. That's what he was averaging. If you did a 162 game average, 44 homers, 110 RBIs, like, the guy's just playing with video game type numbers for an entire decade. In the field, he actually wasn't the worst towards the start of his career. A little less mobile now as he's gotten a little bit older, getting some injuries, but he's still not a bad athlete. It's just he's getting a little beat up. He's a 4-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger. He won the MVP with the Marlins in 2017 with an absolutely historic year, hitting 59 homers with 132 RBIs. He's led the league in slugging 3 times, led the league in homers twice, nice. He's a physically intimidating guy to watch. Like, he steps up to the plate, he just looks like he's going to rip the cover off the baseball. And as for the entire decade, he comes at number 2. He was almost the best right fielder in the game. Because coming in at number 1, despite only playing 5.5 seasons of Major League Baseball, we've got Boston Red Sox right fielder, and now I guess Los Angeles Dodgers, he looks like he's going to play a game, Mookie Betts. Mookie came up in 2014 as a 21-year-old, and he had pretty good success in 2014. 2015, he took over a starting role, and since then, he hasn't really looked back. Never had an OPS below 800 in his career. You don't have an OPS below 800 in your career, that's nasty. Not only is he a great hitter, but he also can steal some bases, he's very fast, and he's a phenomenal fielder. The best defensive outfielder possibly in all of baseball. Gross. So good in right field. From 2015 to 2019, Mookie Betts is averaging 27 homers, 43 doubles, and 5 triples a year with 90 RBIs and 24 stolen bases, hitting .302 with a .374 on base, .524 slugging, and an .898 OPS. Yes, that might be lower than what you can get from Stanton or Bautista, but Mookie Betts gives you stolen bases, which you're getting from neither of those guys, and he's averaging 24 of them a season. You can add that onto his slugging percentage in theory, and he's giving you, without a doubt, the best defense in right field. Absolutely disgusting. So good. So yes, while he only really played 5 seasons of this decade, he still gets over Giancarlo Stanton because in those 5 seasons, his impact has been massive. He has been one of the best players on the planet. He's my number 2 overall player going into 2020 still. And that's again after having a down year last year where he had a .915 OPS. He's definitely my number 1 choice in right field. So those are my top 10 right fielders of the 2010s decade. That is the final rankings of the 2010s. We're moving on. It's time to talk about 2020, the new decade. Focus on the new group of baseball players. I'd love to know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Who did I leave off? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Remember to leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it, as well as subscribe to the channel if you enjoy my content. Check out the Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, second channel, all that links in the description as always. And that's where we're going to wrap up today's video. You guys know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video as well as this is my most recent upload. So click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another video. Bye.